Hello everyone, Pastor Lovy Elias, a name that has in recent years become synonymous with prophetic accuracy, modern revivalism, and spiritual charisma, has always carried himself with the calm assurance of a man deeply rooted in divine purpose. But behind the bright lights, the powerful sermons, and the thousands who hang on his every word, there lies a story that few have ever truly known. A story that has now brought his family to tears, after finally being confirmed. For years, fans and followers of the Revelation Church in Los Angeles have watched Pastor Lovy build one of the fastest-growing ministries in America, transforming from a once popular musician in Kenya to a spiritual leader whose influence extends across continents. Yet as his platform grew, so did the whispers. Whispers of the personal sacrifices, hidden pain, and spiritual warfare that came with the calling. Now, after months of speculation, Pastor Lovy's family has finally spoken out, breaking their silence in a way that has left many shaken and heartbroken. What they revealed about the man behind the pulpit, his struggles, his faith, his battles, and his divine encounters, is both deeply human and profoundly spiritual, painting a portrait of a leader who has carried the weight of the world while silently fighting battles no one ever saw. Long before he became a household name in the prophetic movement, Lovy Elias was already destined for a life of purpose. Born in Kenya, he grew up surrounded by music and ministry. His late father, Archbishop John Elias, was a well-respected spiritual leader, and it was within that foundation that Lovy's prophetic gift began to stir. Even as a child, he was said to have visions and dreams that frightened those around him because they often came true. But before embracing the call fully, Lovy took a different path, one that would later make his story all the more extraordinary. In his teenage years, he found fame as a member of the Kenyan hip-hop group Kleptomaniacs, performing alongside fellow artists and rising to stardom in the early 2000s. The young Lovy was talented, charismatic, and ambitious, but deep down, he felt a spiritual tug he could not ignore. His family later revealed that, even in those days of success, he would often retreat to solitude to pray, sensing that music was only a stepping stone to something far greater. But it was tragedy that would change everything. According to those close to the family, the loss of his father marked a turning point in Lovy's life. It was during this painful period that his prophetic calling became undeniable. He began to have encounters and dreams that revealed not just his future, but the spiritual destiny of others. Moved by divine conviction, he left his old life behind and relocated to the United States, where he would eventually establish the Revelation Church of Jesus Christ in Los Angeles. His journey was not easy. He faced loneliness, financial struggle, and the challenges of starting a ministry from scratch in a foreign land. But those who knew him say that it was during those early years that his anointing deepened. He was always in prayer, one family member recalled through tears. Sometimes he would stay up all night interceding for people he didn't even know. He carried the pain of others as if it were his own. Over time, his ministry began to attract attention. Testimonies of miraculous healings, accurate prophecies, and transformed lives spread across social media. Celebrities, athletes, and politicians began attending his services, drawn to his wisdom and the palpable presence of God that seemed to follow him wherever he went. But with fame came scrutiny. Rumors began circulating online, questions about his methods, his finances, and his personal life. Some accused him of being too lavish, while others questioned whether his miracles were real. Through it all, Pastor Lovy remained silent, refusing to defend himself publicly. "If God called me," he once said, "then only God can vindicate me." His family stood by him, watching as he carried both the blessings and burdens of a growing global ministry. Yet behind the scenes, the toll it took on him was enormous. In a recent emotional family statement that shocked his followers, his relatives revealed that the weight of leadership had deeply affected Lovy in ways he rarely shared. They spoke of sleepless nights, intense spiritual attacks, and the emotional cost of bearing others' pain. "He gives so much of himself to people that sometimes he forgets he's human," one close family member admitted tearfully. "He's a man who prays for everyone, even those who hate him, but few people ever pray for him." They described moments where Lovy would come home after long ministry sessions physically drained, sometimes collapsing in exhaustion after hours of counseling and prayer. His mother, visibly emotional during the family's revelation, said, "People see the miracles, But they don't see the suffering. They see the power, but not the price. What makes this revelation so powerful is not scandal or controversy. It's the raw humanity of a man who has given his life to a higher calling and has paid a personal price that most could never imagine. His family also revealed something that sent shockwaves through his congregation, that Pastor Lovy had faced a serious health scare not long ago, one that he kept hidden from the public while continuing to preach every week. Even when he was sick, he refused to stop, his family said. He said, "If I can still speak, I'll still serve." That's how much he loves God's people. It was during this period, they shared, that Lovy had a profound spiritual encounter, one that reignited his passion and confirmed to him that his mission was far from over. In his own words, later shared in a sermon, Lovy revealed that God told him, "The pain you carry is not a punishment, it's preparation." Those words have since become a cornerstone of his teachings, resonating deeply with his followers who now understand that their pastor's power comes from a place of personal suffering and relentless faith. His family's tearful confirmation of his private struggles has only deepened the love and respect people feel for him. Many have taken to social media to express their support, saying that they now see Pastor Lovy not just as a prophet, but as a man of incredible strength and humility. Yet, what truly moved his family to tears wasn't just his endurance, it was his forgiveness. Despite the criticism, betrayal, and misunderstandings he's faced, they revealed that Lovy still prays for those who attack him. "He tells us all the time," his brother said, "if Jesus forgave them on the cross, then who am I not to forgive?" His compassion extends even to those who once mocked him, and his refusal to respond to negativity has inspired thousands to do the same. Today, as his ministry continues to expand, with branches across the US, Africa, and Europe, Pastor Lovy stands as a symbol of what modern faith leadership can look like when grounded in authenticity. His family's emotional testimony has peeled back the curtain on the reality of what it means to be chosen. That behind every anointed figure lies a human being who bleeds, cries, and struggles like everyone else. The revelation has also renewed the call for his congregation to pray for their leaders, reminding believers that even prophets need healing. In closing, Pastor Lovy's story is not one of tragedy, but of triumph through tears. His family's heartbreak over his silent suffering has turned into gratitude for his strength. What they have confirmed is that the man many see as a vessel of divine power is also a father, son, and brother who bears his cross daily with grace. As one relative said, he's given his whole life to God, not for fame, not for money, but because he truly loves people. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful message of all. Because in a world filled with spiritual showmanship, Pastor Lovy Elias's greatest miracle might not be a healing or a prophecy. It's his ability to love, endure, and keep going, even when the world doesn't see his tears. And now that his family has finally confirmed what they've carried in silence for so long, the world finally understands that behind every great man of God is a story of quiet suffering, unshakable faith, and the kind of divine strength that can only come from walking through the fire and emerging refined. Thanks for watching.